The final traces of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from the British royal family are being erased, and this is far more significant than just the destruction of their former home.
Charles has made it very clear that he wants Harry back. You know, we saw it in Harry's book. Don't make my life a misery, but don't make my final years a misery, boys.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are being erased from the history of Frogmore Cottage.
A huge blow up, a big fight around Harry's plans for summer return to the UK, including spending time at Balmoral, potentially, and reconnecting with the king.
No matter how much they try to portray themselves as pseudo-royals, and I think you can see quite clearly on the part of the Duke of Sussex an attempt to try to open up an avenue to return to the fold.
Freedom flight. Remember those words? Those two smug little words Prince Harry fired into the world like a declaration of victory as he and Meghan Markle vanished into California sunshine, convinced they had escaped the monarchy forever. But now, that freedom looks a lot more like exile, because behind the gates of Windsor, something icy is happening. Bulldozers are circling Frogmore Cottage. Work crews are reportedly preparing to tear apart the very renovations Harry and Meghan once treated like a royal love nest makeover. And insiders are whispering the same chilling phrase over and over again. They are erasing them. Every trace, every memory, every expensive detail the Sussexes touched, gone. This is not just some ordinary property renovation buried in a royal expense sheet. No, this feels personal, deeply personal. Frogmore Cottage was supposed to symbolize a new era for Harry and Meghan. It was the Queen's wedding gift, their sanctuary, their fresh start inside the royal fold. But now the same walls that once echoed with promises of modern monarchy are being ripped back apart like the family wants to scrub the entire chapter from history itself. And once you start following the details, the whole thing begins to look less like construction and more like a royal exorcism. Because let's talk about that infamous $2.4 million renovation. The yoga studio, the designer fixtures, the rewired electrics, the upgraded water and gas systems, the luxury copper bathtub everyone mocked. Critics at the time blasted Harry and Meghan for turning a historic royal property into some kind of Soho House fantasy palace. And now, according to reports, much of it is being reversed. Completely reversed. Frogmore is allegedly being split back into separate staff residences exactly like it had been before Harry and Meghan ever walked through the door. Think about what that means emotionally. The royal family is not simply moving on. They are undoing them. And that sends a terrifyingly clear message. Because royal properties are not random houses. These places are symbolic. Every room, every assignment, every removal means something. Frogmore sitting empty for years already looks suspicious enough. But now comes the twist nobody can stop talking about. Prince Andrew was reportedly offered Frogmore during discussions about his own housing drama, and even he refused it. Let that sink in. Andrew looked at the place and basically said no thanks. Suddenly, people inside royal circles started whispering about bad energy around the property. Bad juju, a cursed house. And the more people joke about it, the more uncomfortable the silence around Frogmore becomes. Why does nobody want it? Why are they spending money to undo renovations instead of simply leaving the house untouched? Why does this one cottage seem to trigger so much bitterness inside the monarchy? Because Frogmore is no longer just a building. It became a scar, a reminder of the moment the monarchy lost control of Prince Harry forever. And that scar only gets uglier once you look at what's happening in California. Because while Frogmore is being dismantled brick by brick, Meghan's carefully crafted business empire appears to be wobbling in public. The lifestyle brand, the luxury image, the endless relaunches. One week it's jam, the next it's candles. Then suddenly, matches. Literal boxes of matches. And the internet exploded laughing because critics immediately spotted something strange. The matches reportedly had to be bundled with other products just to move inventory. That's when the whispers really started. People began asking the question nobody in Montecito wants to answer out loud. Is the money running low? Because maintaining their lifestyle is not cheap, not even remotely. The Montecito estate alone costs a fortune to maintain. Then add private security bills large enough to terrify most millionaires. Staff, travel, PR teams, lawyers, luxury branding. The entire Sussex image depends on appearing bigger, wealthier, more glamorous than ever before. But what happens when the machine starts sputtering? Suddenly, Harry's growing emotional pull toward Britain starts looking very different. Because now, people aren't seeing a homesick prince longing for family. They're seeing a man trying to reconnect with the one institution that once guaranteed his relevance, his protection, and his global status. And whether Harry realizes it or not, the British public has noticed the timing too. The same man who once sprinted away screaming about freedom is now locked in legal battles over taxpayer-funded security. The same man who insisted he wanted privacy now seems desperate to maintain a royal connection, and critics are absolutely merciless about it. Their argument is brutal in its simplicity. You cannot torch the institution, flee the country, trash the family on global television, and then expect the British taxpayer to fund your return whenever California stops feeling magical. And somewhere underneath all of this sits King Charles, older now, battling illness, allegedly wanting peace before time runs out. Some believe Charles quietly dreams of reconciliation with Harry. Others think Buckingham Palace is floating soft media narratives to test whether the public would ever tolerate a Sussex return. But there is one gigantic obstacle standing directly in the way of that fantasy: Prince William. And insiders say William's position has hardened into ice, because while Charles may still think emotionally like a father, William reportedly thinks institutionally, strategically, permanently. According to repeated reports, William does not merely disagree with Harry. He blames him. He deeply, personally, especially after the chaos of recent years, piled stress onto the family during some of its darkest moments. And many royal watchers now believe the future king already holds more influence than anyone wants to publicly admit, which means Harry may be facing the most painful realization of all. There may not be a road back. Not really. Not ever. And as Frogmore Cottage gets stripped apart piece by piece behind palace walls, the symbolism becomes impossible to ignore. The home that once represented Harry and Meghan's future inside the monarchy is being dismantled at the exact same time their California empire appears shakier than ever. One door closing while another one quietly refuses to reopen. That is not coincidence. That is a message. And then the story took an even darker turn because suddenly the crisis was no longer just about money, royal exile, or a crumbling public image. Now people started whispering about the marriage itself, because behind those polished anniversary photographs and carefully staged Montecito smiles, rumors began leaking out that Harry and Meghan were no longer even fighting for the same future. And once you hear the details allegedly coming out of California, it becomes impossible not to notice the pattern forming around them. According to explosive reports circulating through royal gossip circles, Harry had been quietly planning something deeply emotional behind the scenes. Not another media project, not another Netflix appearance. A return, not permanently perhaps, but symbolically. He reportedly wanted to bring Archie and Lilibet to Britain for the summer. Balmoral time with King Charles while the king is still battling cancer. A reunion. A reconnection with the roots Harry supposedly cannot stop thinking about. And if that story is true, it reveals something absolutely devastating about where Harry's head really is right now. Because this is the same man who once swore California was freedom, yet now he allegedly wants his children surrounded by the very royal world he escaped. But then came the information that reportedly blew everything apart. William and Catherine allegedly wanted absolutely nothing to do with the Sussexes. No shared family summer, no warm reunion, no emotional photographs healing the monarchy. And when Meghan supposedly learned that the Wills family did not want them anywhere near their orbit, insiders claim the argument inside Montecito exploded into a full-scale showdown. The reported line that emerged from that fight hit royal watchers like a thunderclap. If you want to go to Britain, go ahead. But me and the children are not going. And suddenly, the entire Sussex saga starts looking less like a united love story and more like two people being dragged toward opposite worlds. Because Harry still looks backward. Britain, family, royal identity. The institution he spent years publicly attacking somehow still pulls at him emotionally. Meanwhile, Meghan reportedly wants the exact opposite. Distance, California, Hollywood influence. A future with no dependence on royal approval whatsoever. And when two people are running toward completely different destinations, eventually something snaps. Then came the Switzerland story. Because while rumors of tension swirled around Harry, Meghan flew into Geneva for what was supposed to be a massive image rebuilding moment tied to a World Health Organization event. The headlines afterwards sounded triumphant. Powerful speech. Global stateswoman. Meghan takes world stage. But then eyewitness accounts started surfacing and the entire glamorous narrative cracked wide open. Journalists claimed turnout at the event was shockingly tiny. One observer mocked that there were barely enough attendees to fill a British phone booth. After all the hype, all the PR, all the attempts to frame Meghan as an international powerhouse, critics said the room looked practically empty. And then came the photo, the selfie, the moment that reportedly blindsided everyone around her because Meghan was photographed smiling beside a controversial foreign health official accused of deeply offensive remarks and disturbing behavior. Suddenly, people started asking the same uncomfortable question they always ask when these disasters happen around the Sussexes: where is the machine? Where is the palace-level vetting? Where are the advisors stopping these catastrophes before they happen? And the brutal answer is simple. The machine is gone. That is the part people still underestimate about Harry and Meghan. When they left the royal family, they did not just lose titles and ceremonial appearances. They lost the infrastructure, the army of handlers, researchers, security teams, vetting experts, communication staff, palace officials who quietly controlled every room, every handshake, every photograph, every guest list, every potential scandal before it exploded publicly. Now the Sussexes appear to be running a global image operation with far less protection, and the cracks are becoming harder to hide, which explains why so many commentators believe their public identity feels confused now. Are they celebrities, humanitarians, political figures, influencers, lifestyle entrepreneurs? Every few months, the branding shifts again, and audiences are noticing the instability. Meanwhile, back in Britain, another war is quietly raging beneath the headlines. The battle over whether Harry could ever return to royal life in any meaningful way. Certain commentators keep insisting King Charles wants reconciliation. They point to strange timing patterns between Harry's public statements and royal messaging. They point to whispers about Operation Thor, alleged efforts to soften public opinion toward Harry's eventual return. They point to Charles's emotional nature and his reported desperation to repair things before it is too late. But every single one of those theories crashes directly into the same immovable wall: Prince William. Because according to repeated reports, William's anger toward Harry has not softened at all. If anything, insiders claim it has calcified, hardened, become permanent. Many believe William sees Harry not merely as a difficult brother, but as an active threat to the monarchy itself. And if William truly is already steering the future direction of the institution, then Harry's dream of ever sliding quietly back into royal life may already be dead behind closed palace doors. Which brings this entire story back to Frogmore Cottage. That house was never just a house. It became the symbol of Harry and Meghan's royal future. Then it became the symbol of their rebellion. And now it may become the symbol of their erasure. Because while Harry reportedly spreads maps across Montecito tables, imagining routes back toward Britain, the monarchy appears to be physically dismantling the last place that ever truly belonged to him inside royal walls. Brick by brick, room by room, memory by memory. And maybe that is the cruelest part of this entire saga. Harry once believed leaving the monarchy would finally give him control over his own story. But now the palace, the public, the press, and even his own fractured future all seem to be rewriting that story around him in real time. The Freedom Flight did land exactly where everyone feared it would. And the truly terrifying thing for Harry may be realizing there is no runway left to take off again.